People are jumping in now.
So we're right at the top of the hour, so I think we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everyone to tonight's webinar. And if you'd like, throw in the chat what state and city that you're from. I'm very excited about who we have this evening, and I would especially like to thank everyone that's taken time this evening. I know there's been a lot of webinars, seems like lately, today and more tomorrow, but thank you for your time this evening. And we want to bring some value to you. My name is Debbie Kral. I'm Pro 7 out of Ocala, Florida, and it's March 3rd, 2021. Of us, there's distributors that have banded together to create a Wednesday evening.
Let me mute everybody. Hold on, and then just unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself, Debbie.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you. All
right. Like I said, this is March the 3rd, 2021, and there's a group of 4 elite distributors that have banded together. And what we try and do is bring new information, new science to all of our groups. We are all cross-line, but we bring different parts of our world, and we want to have other people explore it with us. So the information we're going to bring is science and how it relates to biohacking our own health. That's something that I've done for a really long time, but tonight it's all going to be about biohacking our animals. Most of you know that I've been equine PT for more than 40 years, and I'm very passionate about people's health as well as the animals. And that was the first thing I did when I got involved with LifeVantage, was start putting our products on our animals, whether they were horses or dogs. We've got goats. There's a lot of critters on our products right now. But tonight, I am super excited to have a very special guest, and she's an incredibly busy person, and she's going to talk to us about our animals' health. She's a veterinarian. I'm sure a lot of you will know her, Dr. Alice Berretta. She's an equine vet, and she graduated in 2002 from the University of Georgia Veterinary School. And she is a super busy lady. She's a mom, she's a wife, she's got 2 kids. I follow them on Facebook. They are everywhere. And I'm very excited that she can be with us and grateful to spend some time. And I know y'all are ready to hear her story. So Dr. Alice, could you tell us your story, please?
Sure, I would love to. Thank you, Debbie, for such a wonderful introduction. I met Debbie actually when I was first introduced to LifeVantage. I was just so impressed. You took the time to talk to me and give me recommendations and references. And that was kind of my, the beginning of my introduction to LifeVantage in this company. And I've just been more impressed with every person that I've met and all of the information that I've learned. So thank you, Debbie. I appreciate you inviting me to share on the call today. So as Debbie said, I'm an equine veterinarian. I own my own practice. I'm also a wife and a mom of 2 wild boys, 2 young boys that keep me busy. And we love to be outside. I work outside, we play outside. So it is just kind of our lifestyle, and we just stay very busy and just try to make the most of every single day, because every day counts. And so when I was introduced to LifeVantage, my boys were young, and I was kind of juggling, burning the candle at both ends. From a little girl, I always knew I wanted to be an equine veterinarian. I never considered doing anything else. I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I absolutely love my job. I wouldn't trade it for anything. But it is a difficult juggle. And I remember a few years ago, before I was introduced to LifeVantage, life kind of happened, because life does that. So I had an injury. It was a relatively minor injury. I had a horse that broke my hand, and I was super grateful that it was my left hand, because I'm very right-handed. But it was kind of my first realization that I really needed to be at the top of my game to be able to continue living the crazy life that I had, being on call 24/7, owning my own practice, wearing all the hats, being the mom of 2 small boys. But what do? You just roll with it, right? Like you just play superwoman and, life comes at you and you just keep going. And, that's what moms do. That's what veterinarians do. And I remember, still having to practice veterinary medicine with one hand and still had to pull up diapers with my teeth, and my 12-month-old thought that was hilarious, but you keep going. But in the back of my mind, I thought, if I stop working, then I stop getting paid, So even though I had built this clientele that I loved what I did, I still came to that realization that if I couldn't work, then I had no income. And so it kind of weighed on my shoulders. It made me realize that I couldn't always rely on good fortune. And, with what I do for a living, working with large animals, it's not a question of, if I'm going to get hurt, but when I'm going to get hurt. So it was kind of my wake up call, even though it was a minor injury. But then shortly after that, my father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And that, again, I was juggling, taking care of him while he needed me. My kids were still tiny. I was buying groceries, cooking dinner for my mom and dad. And I just remember thinking, I can do all this, but it's not easy. And I can't walk away from work. I can't walk away from my clientele that I have worked so hard to build, and my clients that rely on me. And so it was a difficult time. And shortly after that, LifeVantage came to me. And it was a friend of mine, a veterinarian that I went to school with that I adore. And so I immediately looked at the information and I was intrigued. I have background in biochemistry. So I dove into the science. I had just recently lost my dad to pancreatic cancer. So a lot of the studies really just kind of hit me, I just realized the potential of being able to support the body before it breaks down. And especially with the horses, by the time horses have gone down that slippery slope of disease, it's really hard to rein it back and bring them back to health. So I just kind of knew that there are a lot of things in veterinary medicine and medicine in general where we get stuck between a rock and a hard place. There are a lot of, age-related diseases and injuries and things like that unfortunately have a poor prognosis. And it's heartbreaking. You spend so much time with your animals that have, that live many, many years, and you want them to have a good quality of life. You want their life to be useful and you want them to thrive for as long as possible. So it really kind of opened up my mind to learning more, because in veterinary medicine, we don't learn anything about herbs and very little about nutrition. And I felt like there was a hole in my education. I felt like there had to be more. There had to be a way for us to support these horses and prevent some of those things that are so difficult or impossible to treat. And I always had clients that would bring in their tubs, their tubs out of their tack rooms and all their supplements, and ask me, is this good for my horse? And should I give them this one or all of them? And I'm wiping up off the dust and the dirt, try to figure out if they're giving too much of one thing, or is it really helpful? Are they wasting their money? But I had a sense that people were looking for something different, looking for something more, looking for a way to, help their horses be as healthy as possible. And so that was kind of my introduction to supplements and different herbs that people use in horses. But the research wasn't there. Occasionally I'd find a study here or there, something anecdotal. I would try to extrapolate from, human medicine. But when I found out about Protandim and NRF2 and the NRF2 pathway, I was floored. We have 28 peer-reviewed studies And you don't see that on a branded supplement. That is not something that we see. And, I knew where to do the research. I knew to go to pubmed.gov, which is where all peer-reviewed studies are published. And, I couldn't believe what I saw. I couldn't believe that I didn't know about it. And I remember thinking, how did I not learn about this NRF2 pathway? Like, this is really important. This is groundbreaking. And then I realized that actually it was discovered in the late 90s. And that is when I graduated with my biochemistry degree. So even though that is not new science, relatively it is. It takes a long time once something's discovered for there to be enough research for people to realize the significance. And that's where we are now. We are really starting to see the significance of what this can do to support the body on a cellular level. And that's what it's about. It's about getting to the root cause of disease. And how do we support these horses in a way that we're helping them on that cellular level, getting to the bottom of root cause of disease so that they can, if you're improving every cell in the body, you're improving every organ, every tissue, and you're improving that horse from head to tail. So that to me is golden, because there are different supplements that people put horses on for different things, but this can help the entire horse. And that is what people are looking for. And so it has been just an incredible journey. It is information that I feel that people deserve to know about. And it just feels so good to have another tool in my truck, something affordable, something safe, something that I can use on top of what I am already doing without worrying about drug interactions. And then as the horses improve, then I have the option, have more options. I'm able to hopefully decrease some of the medications that they're on. And just, it's amazing what happens if you keep them on it month after month after month. You'll continue to see improvement. So I hope that helps. Debbie, is there anything else that I can cover?
Yeah, I've got a couple more questions, but it's so odd because I've thought the same thing. I've been around this now for 8.5 years, and I didn't believe it was real because I hadn't heard of it. I thought I stayed up on things pretty quick. And it just, at some point, and this is how I had to just learn how to get over it, was at some point, something's new and you're not going to be the first one, but we still are in that early group. And it is I really feel like it's our job to take this and pioneer it onto other people that don't know anything about it. I'm very grateful that somebody of your professional caliber is talking about this. So you bring a lot to the table. So I appreciate it so much. I had a question because I think a lot of us that are professionals are doing anything, lots of work. I know I had a 100-hour-a-week job. I even hate saying that. It was such a stupid thing to be, but it's what it was. And we know the horse world is not exactly normal. And a lot of things just become normal after a while, after decades of doing it that way. But I didn't know how I was going to squash another hour, 2 or 3 into my job. And, I kind of look at your life. It is incredibly busy on top of, your practice, your family. So I had to realize that if I didn't do something a little bit different, I was going to be living in that 100-hour-a-week world all the time. So what made you decide that this was something you're going to be able to add to your plate?
Right. That's a great question. Because obviously I wasn't looking for one more thing on my plate. I wasn't looking for another job. I wasn't looking for anything different. I loved what I did. So initially it was just the science. I fell in love with the science. I put a few of my patients on it. I was floored by the results. And then you almost feel guilty not sharing. Once I became excited and passionate about it, then I couldn't help but share the information. And then from a business standpoint, I just realized the significance of sharing this information with people and helping them, and almost feeling like it was my obligation to share this because I knew, how could I not share with someone else? And then the other side of it is I started to realize and understand the potential of just leveraged income. When you share this information with people, they share the information with someone else. And then it's just word of mouth. Word of mouth is what I'm familiar with. That's how I have gained all of my, equine clients. But this can spread so much further because I'm not limited to a 30-mile radius. I'm not limited to just me. So when you share this information with people and they share it with others, it is a powerful thing. And every story that comes back touches someone and makes them want to share more. And you can grow an organization of people that, really passionately, truly want to help others. And by doing that, you build this leveraged income, which I never even understood or even imagined was possible. I just come from that mentality of you just work hard and then you work harder and you just keep working. And I just didn't understand the potential of building something that can kind of turn without you. So it's just been an incredible journey for me, just of personal growth. I work with horses because people are kind of strange and kind of scary. And so, just the concept of working with others and the network marketing industry just seemed completely foreign and completely out of my comfort zone. But with a little bit of just education and learning more about it and getting and understanding what the industry is about, I just realized that it is something that we do every day when we share, things that are important to us and things that we're passionate about. And it's really just educating people, which is what we're committed to. So then it doesn't feel so foreign and it doesn't feel so scary, but it has been something that I squeeze it in, I make it happen. Some days I have more time than others, but I remember sharing with someone while I was pumping fuel, and she has become, one of my biggest team members. I just love Christy. She's amazing. And I remember I was just fueling up and I sent her some emails and she was like, couldn't believe the science behind it all and fell in love with our products. And, you just don't know who you're going to touch or who you're going to reach. And I do a lot of it during carpool line when I'm sitting there in park and I have nowhere to go and I'm waiting for the kids to get out of school. That's when I do a lot of my LifeVantage work, or I just share with people that I run into. Sometimes it's contacts on social media. It's just everybody deserves to know about it. And my favorite is the small animals, the dogs. Every horse owner has an old dog. So it's just, it really melts your heart when you see how well they respond, because there's no placebo effect in horses or dogs. They don't know they're getting an extra something in their food or, wrapped up in some cheese. So when you see those results, especially so quickly in small animals, it's amazing. And, one of the things we don't think about is, oxidative stress, that root cause of inflammation and disease that we're targeting and decreasing with Protandim Nerf 2. That is something that is higher and worse in animals because they age faster than us. Their lifespan is shorter and their levels of oxidative stress are higher. So they benefit even more than we do.
That's I think one of the things that just brought me into it so quickly is I was all about putting the horses and the dogs on it. And of course, without a placebo, and I was very leery. I didn't really believe it, but I put it on a lot of animals that I knew had certain problems. And when you see them turn around and they have no clue, of what it is, the silly dogs jump up and down like it's a treat, and it is a treat. It's treating them, I love that. So I'm glad you brought it up about the dogs, because it's true. Everybody that has a dog I always say has two dogs, but you're right. They all have one old dog. That's for sure. Well, since you've been treating the horses with this, can you give us any advice on dosing the horses as far as maybe how many tablets?
Yeah, sure. It's really interesting because horses metabolize things differently than people and small animals. And so they often do really well on doses that are much lower than you would expect. And so if any of you are horse people and you've ever used Equiox or Previcox in horses, you know that horses take the same size, the same dose as a medium to large breed dog size. And so even though they're much, much larger, for some reason, their metabolism is different and they react differently to different herbs and pharmaceuticals. And so they do well on much lower doses of some things. And then some things they need much higher doses. And thankfully, Protandim is one of those things that they do really well on 2 human tablets. So I give them the human tablets just because the dog ones, it would just be more cost prohibitive if you gave it to them, and they don't really need the chicken flavor or whatever it is. So I usually give them 2 human tablets, and I'll give it about a month or so. If they're doing really well, you might be able to decrease to 1 tablet once a day, just as maintenance. But I always try to start them on 2 tablets, but it does depend on their levels of oxidative stress, and it depends on the horse's situation. So I've had a few horses that I put on more than 2 tablets, especially if it's a big draft horse. But I've had some horses that have done incredibly well on, 1 tablet once a day, maintenance on the long term.
Now, do you give the 2 tablets together or do you split it up?
I give 2 tablets once a day. If it is a horse that is, let's say they're going to a horse show, or, they're going to have more exercise and more oxidative stress from the stress of traveling, the increased exercise, the change in routine. Some of those athletes, I'll actually put on 2 tablets twice a day. But most of them do fine on just 2 tablets once a day.
Okay, that's where I started my old guy. He had a really bad problem. In fact, if he didn't get better, I was going to put him down. That was 8 years ago, and he's still here. But I started with 1. There wasn't very many people back then that were using it on the horses, and I wanted to know what would 1 do, and it changed his world for sure. And as he got older, he has some other problems. He does get 2 a day, but it is just amazing what 2 tablets a day, just turning that pathway on for any horse, whether they're in competition or the older they get, just like people, we need more. So I appreciate your dosage on that. Have you got any great dog stories recently? I mean, some of us have just gone from they're laying on the rug to they're counter surfing,
Yeah, that's what I see the most is some of the old dogs that are just kind of falling apart. They've reached that point where their quality of life is questionable. They're just not very mobile. They've got some cognitive issues, and so I have seen some that were just pitiful, and they just, it's almost like they snap right out of it. I always wish that we knew exactly, what was going on in the body, but it really just is when you decrease oxidative stress at a cellular level, wherever the oxidative stress is, wherever the inflammation is, that's where they improve. So it's really, really impressive. They'll get back to chasing the 4-wheeler and, doing all those bad things they did when they were younger, things you expect them to do that they hadn't done in ages. And I tell you what, those are the stories that make you want to share this. You can wrap your head around the science and you can understand it and be really impressed, because there is nothing else like it. But it's actually seeing it in real life and seeing those lives change that makes you want to share with others.
Yeah, that's where I just couldn't. I said I wasn't going to do the business, but I was going to do the business anyway, because I was going to tell people, especially after I saw the results. So that was kind of what made me say, maybe you need to really pay attention to this, even though I was looking for something to get me out of 100 hours a week. I wasn't going to look at this because I didn't understand how it worked. But when you saw the progress that our animals made, that was a big one for me to get over. But if I wanted to help multitudes of animals, horses and dogs, then I was going to have to do the business, and I was going to have to do some things that I didn't want to do. Now, I can't say it's not that I don't want to do this Zoom right now, but I was terrified to get in front of people. I'm just now starting to be a little comfortable, and I just had to just learn to live in the uncomfortable zone, because that wasn't something that I'm a fly on the wall. I love to not say a word. But when I saw what this did for people and horses, And dogs, I have a lot of jockeys on this. Knowing that we can protect them before they get injured, it's just like your job and mine. Most horse people, we expect to get injured. It's just how fast are we going to be able to come back to work? And so I looked at this as I'll put this money away, and then next time you get hurt, you'll have a little more, to get well on. But that was my point of view. And to now, for me to be able to have to learn how to get skills, because it's important enough that more people know about this. So there's a couple of chats over here. One is talking about dosage for cats. I believe that's pretty much you go along with what's on the bottle and using the pet tandem. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm definitely not a cat person. They're right there as scary as humans to me. But I would be happy to help you with dosage. Yes. So the pet tandem has the dosing on the bottle. And so I believe for a small cat, it would be a half a pet tandem, and a larger cat, it would be a full pet tandem. I think it's less than pounds. You can go to a half a tablet.
Okay. And there's a question on, have you tried the Tri-Synergizer on any horses?
I have not. I
Haven't
have
either.
not. I have really just stuck with the Protandim Nerf 2. One, because all the research is there, and two, because I've had tremendous results. So I guess I always recommend what I know works. And so, but I would love to try a few horses on the Tri-Synergizer to see how they do. None of the herbs are contraindicated, so I don't think that they would be harmful by any means. And it may be that the synergy of the three together would be magical, but I haven't tried it myself. Usually my clients, if they have the budget to, purchase 2 bottles a month, then I usually recommend to Nerf 2 bottles a month. But you find people will spend a lot of money on supplements, and when you have a special horse that you want to keep in great shape, either because it's your child's horse and they're a great match, and you don't want to lose them. You want them to have that relationship with their human and be able to do what they love for as long as they possibly can. So a lot of horse people are willing to spend the money. So it'd be worth a try. We would love to get some feedback.
Okay, because I've been thinking about doing that with my old guy. He's 26. He's has some issues, but he's doing all right. But I just wonder what that sirtuin activity would do for, a way older horse. So I think I just might do that. So
Oh gosh,
coming up.
Yeah, let us know. I should probably be doing the same. I have a 28-year-old that has some melanomas, just a few of them. If you're not a horse person, you don't know about this, but actually gray horses that have very dark black skin are very likely to get melanomas. Gray horses that are 14 years and above, usually 80% of them have melanomas. So my old guy is 28 and he has a few of them. So I don't know, might be worth a try.
Yeah, well, I loved his picture. It was a great photo of you two.
Oh, thank you. He's been in our family since he was born.
Wow, that's fabulous. Yeah, mine's been with me for 24 years. They are family. It really doesn't matter if it's a year or two, but they've been with you decades. Past two husbands, so he's family. But I want to thank you so much. Like, I know your life is busy, and for you to be able to come on late on the evening and spend some time with us, it's so very appreciated. And I want to thank everybody that's on the call this evening. Thank you for your time, but special night. Thank you so much, Dr. Alice. If anybody that wants to know more, whether it's about products or if you're interested in what we're doing as a business, please get with whoever invited you to this call. She told you where to do the science. That's at pubmed.gov. And we can also send you some other links. But I just want to stay right on time. It's 9:30 in my world. And I also want to thank Vandy and Kai and Greg for the technical part, because I'm not there yet. So I appreciate everybody's time and their energy. And it was a great evening. So have an awesome one.